As the Modi government formally completes its first year in power, the BJP and the Congress are out to forward their own ideas about the perceived success and failures of the Modi government. Current Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram spoke to India Today and expressed their views on major issues of contention between the two parties. Let's listen in to what these two leaders had to say.
As a minister who's been in government, who understands the challenge, who understands the nature of the response that you can come up with, what would you consider to be your three top achievements in this last year?
I think the government's first achievement has been that it has reversed the environment of gloom in India. It's brought India back onto the global radar. It's created a sense of enthusiasm in India, and the enthusiasm is so good that even at 7.5% to 8% growth rate, India is not satisfied. That is the spirit India needs. Two, you have a decisive leadership, which by some mild criticism or obstructionism can't be set off the track. It's going to decide and decide in a particular direction. Three, it's been one of the cleanest governments in recent history.
One area where perhaps everyone seems to agree the Modi government is markedly different from the Manmohan Singh government is this issue of corruption, scandal and scam. For whatever the reasons, your government left office.
There was no corruption allegation against our government in the first year of the UPA, 2004-2005.
You're saying, wait,
there was
it
no
will happen to Modi as well.
I'm not saying it should happen. I'm not wishing it happens. Don't compare. First year, second year, third year, there were no allegations of corruption.
But then when the corruption happened, it almost drowned your government out.
Well, I'm not going to comment on those corruption cases because every one of them is sub judice. And there are people...
And I'm not talking, and nor am I asking you to comment on them. I'm talking about the comparison public opinion makes between your government that left office, so to speak, shrouded by corruption, and this government which after a year hasn't got a taint of corruption.
Why did Mr. Vajpayee's government have to leave office? Every government, when it comes to an end of its tenure, 5 years or 10 years, finds resistance to being re-elected.
How confident are you that in the monsoon session it will happen, or do you fear that what you call the anti-development attitude of Congress will continue to thwart you?
Karan, you see, what is the constitutional procedure? You have a joint committee of parliament today. The joint committee will make a recommendation, either agree or make alterations. The Lok Sabha could accept that report. Let's assume so. The Rajya Sabha, there may be some problems. There is a constitutional mechanism provided. Therefore, the answer to all the problems lies in the constitution itself. Ordinarily, the joint committee should be accepted by both the houses of parliament. If it is not, then you have the collective wisdom of both the houses of parliament.
Are you confident that in the monsoon session this will be
I am fairly optimistic we are on the right track and we should move on that right track.
Ashok Gulati's article in today's Indian Express, he says the biggest miss in this government's handling of the economy is agriculture.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes, I represent a rural constituency.
Shivaganga.
Yes, largely rural. It has small towns, but largely rural. I was there the last couple of days again. I visited twice a month. I've traveled in other parts of Tamil Nadu. If there is one section that is deeply affected, if I may say disaffected with this government, it is the farming community.
Is that because of the bad rainfall, untimely rainfall, hailstorms, and therefore distress, or is it because of structural problems?
Many reasons. The unseasonal rains, the drought in some parts, lack of rainfall in some parts, the non-availability of urea at controlled prices, and the mismatch between prices of urea and other fertilizers. Most of all, that they are not getting remunerative prices.
In the first 1 year of this government, where there is a global slowdown, where we inherited a domestic slowdown, in terms of investment, this country got 350 proposals before the FIPB.
This is FDI.
Almost one a day. This is in addition to what we got through the automatic route. In the very first year, foreign direct investment went up by almost 40%. We've made, despite resource crunch, a huge amount of investment into the infrastructural areas so that we can grow. Our growth rates are, compared to anywhere else in the world where there is a slowdown process, India is considered the bright spot. Now, if the world wants to flee India, they certainly can't be investing in countries which have a negative rate of growth today. And therefore, compared to all our other competing investment destinations, India lays ahead. But I have always said that even at 7.5%, I am certainly not satisfied, because I do believe India's potential is far more, and I have a longer list of reforms for the second year and the third year, which is certainly ready.
Inflation began to decline in November 2013. In fact, I said that when the fiscal deficit is brought under control and the current account deficit is brought under control and the rupee is stabilized, inflation will decline. Crude oil prices have halved, and in my calculation, that gave the government a bonanza of about 80,000 crore rupees.
But didn't they control minimum support prices, which have kept food inflation down?
Well, if you read Ashok Gulati today, and if you read some other columnists, they say that the single biggest failure of the Modi government, in their view, is the agrarian distress. One of the reasons for the distress is the paltry MSP increases that they gave this year. 50 rupees for paddy, 50 rupees for wheat, no case more than 50, in one case 10, and in 3 cases 0. I think this is punishing the farmer when we know that his costs have increased by more than 50 rupees.
In each of these sectors, the actual spending is going up. The pocket out of which the spending is going to come is going to be different. Now, the 14th Finance Commission said that instead of 32% of the divisible pool, the states will get 42%. The center, instead of 68%, will have only 58% left. So I am 10% poorer, the states are 10% higher. The Finance Commission also said that most of these schemes which the center was funding should be given to the states, and states must fund all of them. Instead, what we did was, because the center is financially not that unhealthy, we will continue to retain a number of those schemes. So some of them we will fully fund, some of them we will partly fund, and 8 of them will be transferred to the states.
Are the states going to fund those?
Because the states now have a larger revenue, and the states will bear.
Are you hoping they'll fund it, or have you
What do you mean hoping? It's a reality.
They have to fund it.
They have to fund it. Therefore, if you want the state scheme in the state, the size of the cake has increased, the size of the states has increased. So instead of the entire money coming out of the right pocket, some of it will come out of the left pocket also, because
but it will come either way.
Because more money has been put into the left pocket this time, and in the sector, a larger money will come in.
No Chief Minister has supported Mr. Jaitley on that. In fact, Mr. Siddaramaiah, Chief Minister of Karnataka, is on record that his state will lose 5,800 crore. I have not come across a single Chief Minister who says that my increased share in tax devolution more than makes up for the cuts in allocation. You have already heard Mr. Rajnath Singh, or certainly the Home Secretary, protesting against the cuts. You have heard Ms. Menaka Gandhi protesting against the cuts. As the year goes forward, you will find more ministers. Health, education, women and child development, SC/ST, all of them will protest because simply the money is not there. What Mr. Jaitley says is, the money is there, it's not coming from my right pocket, it will come from my left pocket. Unfortunately, the kind of money is very different. The money that has been cut is from plan, which is a firm allocation. The money that has been promised is from taxes which have to be raised in the future. If those taxes are not raised, that 42% is not going to be very different from what you gave them this year.